Hey guys, Shep's Tech here, back with another video and back with an episode of this Volvo series that I've been going on. I've started this series about a while ago. First, with us getting screwed on a Volvo, and then another episode of Volvo Problems. And you guys actually like this series because the amount of views it has been getting. Yep. The views have been great on this series, so let's make another one. What the point of this series is, and basically I just hate on this car as much as possible. Not really, but the main point of this series is to give a Volvo's owner feedback to people who are thinking about getting a 2020 XC90. So, speaking of our 2020 XC90, this is our 2020 Volvo XC90, and this car has a hell of a backstory. Sorry for the swearing, but it has quite of a backstory. As I said, this is our 2020 Volvo XC90, aka the car that has been going to the dealership way too many times in the past 5 months. But let me explain more on that. About a year ago, we decided our Volvo dealer gave us the opportunity to trade in our 2017 XC90 for a 2020 Volvo XC90. Our old one had 37,000 miles on it, and we thought it was a good deal. They valued the car at $40,000. Put that towards the new XC90, and we put it towards this one. Little did we know that this car was going to have a lot of problems, going from being at the dealership for 2 weeks because the dealer sold us a car with no front sensors, and then going from them attempting to repair bodywork, but they did a crappy job on it, and the car had to sit the 2 weeks there during entire quarantine, and even more. And just something that came up the other day is a big car is only 1 year old and has 6,000 miles on it, and we visited the dealership way too many times about this car. And this car only has, again, 6,000 miles on it. Now, let me show you. Coming inside the car, you can see over here. Let's just quickly start it up. Let me get a close-up here. 6,363 miles on this car. 6,363 miles on this car. That is a very low mileage 2020 XC90. Everyone may be asking, Shep, what's wrong with the car? It looks perfectly fine to me. Well, it's not with the exterior of the car, it's actually with the interior of the car. Let me show you. And keep in mind, 6,000 miles from the car. Walk up to the car, nothing looks like it's happening. It's with the inside of the car, and take a close look at the seat. Oh, there looks like some white thing in it, and a closer look, it's a tear. You can see the leather has teared, and there's a lot of scarring right there, as you can see, and it's also happening on the bolster. You can see all the scratching, the leather scratching. This car has only 6,000 miles on it, and the seats are made out of this. I mean, they're decently comfortable seats. They're made out of this crappy material that every single time we get in and out of the car, look at this. This is a tear. I don't want to make it even worse, but this is a tear. And this is very disappointing on a 6,000 mile car. This happens, which is extremely disappointing and extremely it's just disappointing. And keep in mind, this car is a $61,000 car, and it's doing this. Shut. How did this happen? Well, it was from getting in and out of the car, literally getting in and getting out. Now, as an SUV, it's tall, right? It's a tall car, like every SUV is. So you kind of have to, like, squash, like, this side of the seat, like here. And I think that on the passenger side, it's not even that bad. Because guess what? No one uses a passenger seat in this car. Everyone pretty much sits in the back. This is extremely disappointing, right? Look at this. Passenger seat, completely fine. Starting to wear, but completely fine, right? And do the exact same thing. Passenger seat's fine, right? But the driver's seat is where the problem is that rip. Obviously, you might be saying, oh, just got the seat reupholstered, not a big deal whatsoever. Well, the problem is that on a 6,000 mile car, I don't think it's really worth getting reupholstered, and neither does our family think it's really worth getting this thing reupholstered. You could get it reupholstered, but our last XC90, which had 37,000 miles on it, and it was around the exact same price as this car, had a tear in the seat at around 37,000 miles. Again, getting in and out of the seat and starting to wear at 10,000 miles. So, this is extremely, extremely, extremely disappointing with these seats. If only Volvo decided to equip nicer seats, like in the Inscription it has the Napa leather seats, or in the R Design you can also get those wool seats, but this seat material is so crappy. I mean it. It's crappy. Take a look at a 6,000 mile car. It wears like Volvo this. Got bought out by the Chinese Geely. It has been really, the exterior of the car looks a lot better. I have to say, the exterior looks very good, but the interior quality is just gone downhill significantly. We had 2014 XC90 built like a tank. It was indestructible. Literally, the seats were comfy, did not wear whatsoever. It was built like a tank. This is built like every other car today. Asking, what's next? Are you going to get the seat reupholstered? What's next in this process? Well, we have been really thinking about this car and how much money has been going into it and how many problems we had. Definitely, we've had more problems with this Volvo than any other Volvo we had. So we are starting to think about getting rid of it. Now, it's not official yet. We don't know if we're gonna get rid of it, but we might be getting rid of it, and because this is extremely disappointing. I mean, what happens if we get the seat reupholstered and something else happens to this car? And that might be very frustrating. So we might be thinking about getting rid of it. It's not official yet. It's not official. There's some talk about it, but it might not. It's just very disappointing that this seat is just worn terribly for 6,000 miles. I mean, I still can't believe this is a brand new car, barely broken in. And so, if you're thinking about getting an XC90, let me tell you this. I've been a previous owner of, not me, but my parents have been previous owners of XC90s. I recommend don't get the Momentum. It's just not worth it at all. I think the seats are terrible, and it is the base model, but Volvo can't cheap out like that. They're gonna, if you're charging 61 grand for a car, step up the material game, Volvo. Like, this is not cool at all. So if you're thinking about getting a 2021 or a 2020 XC90, get an R Design or an Inscription one, because the Momentum is just not a good car. I mean, it's fine, it's a good car, but the seats, more other things, it just doesn't wear well. It just can't handle, I don't know. It's just not that great of the car for materials-wise in the interior. So get an R Design or Inscription if you are thinking about getting it. Yes, I know it's more expensive, but it's much better than having to deal with this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did, comment, like, and subscribe. And this is probably the last episode in this series, because we might think about getting rid of this. So see us next time. Peace. So just a little update. We thought of a fix for the tear, just for very temporarily, so we don't have to look at a tear every single time we walk into this car. But let me show you here. We thought of its fix, and that is black duct tape. Yep, we just went to Home Depot, and we come back to here. We bought a big black roll of duct tape, as you can see, and we bought that, and that is what we're using just to cover up the tear. We're probably not going to get this fixed. It just doesn't seem like it's right to get fixed. I don't know if Volvo will do anything about it, but yeah, extremely disappointing on a 6,000 mile car to have a tear in the seat. I mean, it does the job. I mean, so now we don't have to have a tear in the seat, but yeah, that's what we're doing for right now.